Hello everyone, welcome to channel Duello. Today I'll be reviewing the Price of Power expansion for Gwent, and there are only 26 cards. And why is that? Because CD Projekt Red decided to divide the set into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Once Upon a Pyre, and they're going to be releasing each part for every 2 months. So they decided to follow a strategy like this. I don't know if it will work or not. There are advantages and disadvantages, obviously, but the obvious advantage is like we'll be getting new cards for every 2 months, so the meta will continuously change depending on the new content, so that's a good thing. But the bad thing is we won't be able to open new packs or kegs in this game, and that is a good feeling. And it is kind of disappointing that we can't have immediate access to those cards. But if you have enough scraps, that's no big deal. But not every player is like that. So I think it is kind of disappointing to not taste that experience, in my opinion. Well, we'll be getting the expansion kegs in the final installment of the sets, but it will be from 4 months from now. I don't think that's great. But as I said, for advanced player, this is a good thing because we'll be receiving a lot of new content, and we have to update our decks, really often. Okay, so let's get to the content of this video. Well, I've done a similar video in the past, actually, for different sets and new release cards. What I'm doing is I'm talking about the cards and trying to rate them based on a 5-point scale. And let's talk about that first. What will be my rating criteria? Well, 5-star is reserved for cards that are auto-included in almost every competitive deck. So not many cards can get this rating, for obvious reasons. 4-star is for, let's say, a staple card in a tier 1 or tier 2 deck, so this is a pretty good card, but that's not an auto-include. 3 stars is for cards that find place in lower tier decks, or it is a good card but has better alternatives, or it only works in very specific decks. 2 stars finds place in, let's say, non-competitive decks. They are really powerful when certain conditions are met, so I don't want to call them meme cards, but meme cards kinda fit into that criteria. And 1-star is for garbage cards, and spoiler alert, there are no 1-star cards in this mini expansion. Most of the cards are pretty good, and some of them are straight out broken, and I think they need to be fixed. Well, I'm shooting this video let's say 2 days after the release of the expansion, which is called, by the way, Price of Power. Once Upon a Pyre is the name of the first part. So I'm pretty sure some of these cards will change if you watch this video like a month from now. I will have some predictions on those changes, but some cards are really, really powerful. Okay, so let's start with the neutral cards. There are only 2 neutral cards. The first one is Teleportation. It is a common spell. It resets an allied unit's power. If it's a bronze unit, you can replay it instead. So you can use it on a gold card. Suppose a powerful card has been, the health of the card has been reduced to 1 or 2. You're playing against Skellige, it got a lot of damage, so you can reset that. I wouldn't call it the most efficient way to use this card, but if it's a bronze unit, you can replay it instead, so that's even better. Some bronze units have really good deploy effects, so playing Teleportation on them could feel really well. But is it a card that is worth including in a deck? That's the question. And right now there are pretty good 4 power provision cards in every faction, and they're competing for the same spot. So I'm not really sure Teleportation will find places in the tier 1, tier 2 decks. But it is possible to use it on bronze engines like the new released one, the Witch is on a Pig. But other than that, I'm not sure we're gonna see this card in a deck. But why am I keep saying in a deck? Well, this can be, used by using other cards, other cards that produce spells. So we're gonna talk about that a bit later. That's why, I rated this card a 3-star. It is a decent card, but I wouldn't, include in any competitive deck. The other common card is Megascope. It's a really interesting design. On deploy, you choose a bronze allied unit, and after 2 turns, Megascope will spawn its base copy on the right of Megascope. Well, it kinda sucks that you get the benefit after 2 turns, so you need to be patient about that. And it's not like spawn and play, it's just spawns. So it has to be on a unit that doesn't have any deploy effect. So, well, there are some really good bronze cards that could benefit from this card, but the same question remains. Is this card worth including in a deck? Well, if you're going for a meme route and you want to do some specific interactions, I think you can include this. That's why I'm rating this 2 stars out of 5. Let's move to monsters. In this expansion, a new keyword has been introduced, which is called Sabbath. Sabbath triggers if one of your rows has a total of 25 or more power. Unfortunately, there is no animation right now. When you reach Sabbath status, I wish there was a status like Blood Moon or something. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. But CD Projekt Red, is trying their best to, let's say, make the game look better. So I'm pretty sure they'll include it in, let's say, later updates. Anyway, let's get back to the specifics of this ability or keyword. Well, monsters has lots of point slam cards, so I assume it's not going to be that difficult to come up with 25 or more power. With a couple of cards you can reach that amount, as long as you're playing them on the same row. So what happens when you reach Sabbath? Well, we have 4 new cards, and some of them are really benefiting from that status. So let's take a look at them. The first card is She Who Knows. I think this is the creator of the Drone trio in the game. And for 13 provisions, it's a 10 power card. It is similar to Spear Tip, but she has a nice ability on her. Well, at the end of round, if you have Sabbath, give resilience to the highest base power unit on your side of the battlefield. So resilience is already a pretty powerful effect. So if you give resilience to a high powered unit like the card herself, she can give resilience to herself, it will carry over to the next round, so which is really huge. And on top of that, you can keep carrying over it. Well, suppose She Who Knows, you're gonna use her in the next round, and you'll probably reach against Sabbath pretty quickly. And if you reach that, you're gonna carry over another card, or even maybe this one, to the next round. Well, I think that's really broken, in my opinion, especially on red coin. The opponent will have no answer. The opponent will pass, and then you'll play She Who Knows, win the round, and with resilience, you can carry over 10 points to the next round, and you can start to bleed the opponent immediately. I think this is one of the best cards in the set. That's why I'm giving this card a 5 out of 5 rating. And we're already seeing this card in almost every monster's deck right now. But I'm pretty sure her popularity will decrease over time. But right now, playing this card feels really powerful, and it doesn't feel great for the opponent either. Well, she could be locked, poisoned, and easily dealt with, but it's really hard to kill her with damage. And I think locking is probably the best solution to She Who Knows. But if the opponent is on the red coin, and the opponent plays this as the last card, just like I said, you cannot interact with her, and you are pretty much doomed. So that's why this is one of the best cards in Monsters faction right now. And here's another broken card, which Apprentice. It's a 4 provision, 4 power card, 4 for 4. Looks really underwhelming, but the card is really strong. Well, if you have Sabbath condition at the end of your turn, boost self by 2. So if you can somehow reach 25, well, you can say like, well, this is a 4 power, which on a pick. Well, before that, you're gonna play your big boys, and then when you add Witch Apprentice to the mix, and if you're reaching 25, immediately she will boost herself by 2. So 4 provision card turns into a beast, basically. And well, the beast actually stops after a while, right? I mean, suppose you have Yeager, I mean, the beast will go up to 14 and then it will stop. Which Apprentice will keep getting stronger and stronger with every turn. I mean, 2 by 2, so becomes unstoppable. So this is really unfair for 4 provision cards. I mean, the ceiling doesn't have to be that high. At least they should, I mean, pump this card to 5 provisions. It's right now broken. And it's no surprising that we're seeing this card in, let's say, Point Slam Monsters decks, even in Cthulhu's and V decks, because those decks are really not struggling to reach 25 power. So this has to be fixed, and well, it is a 5-star rating card, so there's no arguing that. The next card is the epic for monsters, Ratcatcherus. Whenever this unit is damaged, reduces base power by 1. So before talking about that, let's take a look at the stats here. 7 provision, 9 power. Okay, this is really good. And but if this unit is damaged, it's gonna get 1 more damage because the base power will be reduced by 1. So if you're playing against Skellige, this card is in trouble. But if you somehow reach Sabbath, for example, I mean, you have 16 power in a single row, you play Ratcatcherus, you reach 25, you cancel the ability above. So that's great. Even if she gets damaged, nothing will happen to her, as long as the power total is 25 in the row. And in addition to that, whenever you play a relict, increase this unit's base power by 1. So this expansion also introduces relic theme. I mean, there were a few relics in the game, but with this expansion, all of the monsters units are relics. So you can build a deck around relics deck, and there are really good relic cards in the game right now, especially the Chrome Trio. They're all relics, and they have recently been buffed. So it's no surprise that we're seeing those Trio and Ratcatchers with them, along with She Who Knows. I think that's a really powerful interaction. And in addition to that, so I'm rating this 4 stars, by the way. It's not a 5-star card because it's kind of conditional, and you need to actually play relics and witches and stuff, get more benefit from this card. For the other previous cards, you don't have to play a relic theme deck. I mean, they can go into any, let's say, Point Slam monster deck. That's why that card isn't a 4-star. The next one is called Guncan. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. Well, this one is a relic too. Deploy, increase this unit's base power by 2 for each adjacent relic. So this is even a more specific condition. There needs to be 2 relics on the board, but if you do have those relics, Guncan will play for 9, and 5 provision for 9 is insane. And in addition to that, for the next round, Ghoul can consume this. This is a bronze card, and Ghoul's power will go up to 10. That's a sick interaction. I mean, worst case scenario, you can play your Ozrel on this. So that's not that bad either. But it is conditional, and you need to play a relic theme deck. I'm rating this 4-star, but it can be reduced to 3 stars. So I guess 3.5 star fair. So that's about monsters. Let's move to Nilfgaard. As you see, Monster has some really cool cards in this set. Well, Nifcart has broken cards as well, but not the legendary one. Rihann is kind of underwhelming. Right now, people are trying to, make use of him. I don't think he is that strong, but let's look at the description. The deploy ability is looking at the top 3 units in your deck, move 1 to your graveyard and destroy an enemy unit with power equal to that unit's power. The problem with that is equal word is the problem, not power equal to or less than. So it has to match the same power. So that includes a lot of RNG and depends on what your opponent is playing. If you somehow do it with Rico combo, well, that could work. So whatever the opponent is playing, you can match it with Rico. But setting up Rico isn't that easy, but it isn't that difficult either. Still, it's not the greatest interaction in the world in my opinion. The order ability is stronger. Set the power of a unit to match the number of cards in your deck. So it means that you need to play some kind of a thinning theme deck, and you do that, and if you have a few cards left in your deck and you're playing Rihann's the final round, this is going to be pretty good, and it is kind of a toll removal. Suppose you have 3 cards left and you're resetting your opponent's Eagle, so that's really crazy. But the thing is, it's an order ability, so you need to wait 1 more turn, and Rihann's could easily be answered. That's why I'm rating this card only 2 stars right now. I mean, it is kind of a meme card, but I'm pretty sure they will buff this card. So I think the rating will change over time. The next card is again a broken card, Deadbeanstone. It is a spell, 7 provision spell. Banish a card from your deck, then boost an ally unit by that card's provision cost. Well, if the provision cost of the card is high, I mean, you're gonna get lots of boost, but the downside is you're gonna lose a valuable card. But let's keep on reading. If the banish card was a bronze, banish another bronze card from your deck and boost the same unit by that card's provision cost. So you can banish 2 bronze cards from your deck and at the provision cost of those 2 cards and boost the units. And suppose you're banishing a 6 provision bronze cards, and then you banish another 5 provision bronze card, you're getting 11 value from a 7 provision card. On top of that, you're thinning your deck by 2 probably average or bad cards. So that's an insane interaction. I wouldn't be surprised if every single Nilfgaard deck uses this, because it's that good. I'm rating this 4 stars for now, but this could easily be a 5-star card. Time will tell, but I'm leaning towards 5 stars. So I would say it's a 4.5-star card. What about the bronze cards? Blightmaker is the first one. It's a human mage agent. Deploy, move a card in your deck to the top of it. If it was a mage, spawn the Guardian on this row, and Guardian is a 3-powered construct card. And well, it looks like a pretty good deck manipulation. So if you're looking for a specific mage, you can put it on the top, and then you also spawn the Guardian. So it means that for 5 provision, you're getting 7 points, as the Guardian power is 3. We have another option. If you put a special card on it, you can spawn and play Cow Carcass. Well, Cow Carcass puts the body on the other side of the board. And at the end of the next turn, it's going to destroy itself and put poison on the adjacent unit. So if you have a chance to complete the poison, it could be really good. Besides, if you have assimilate cards, Cow Carcass isn't part of your deck, so it will trigger assimilate engine. So it's not bad either. In any case, this is a pretty good card. But I'm gonna rate this 5-star card because it's a great card, especially in combination with the next card, Mage Assassin. Well, if Mage Assassin is moved to the top of your deck during your turn and it is a mage, so what you do is you pick this as your mage target to put on the top of the deck. It summons self to a random allied row and damage a random enemy unit by 2. So when you do that, you're getting insane amount of points. Let's get back to Blightmaker. You play Blightmaker, it's 4 points, and you put a mage on the top of it, Mage Assassin. You get the Guardian for 3 more points, 7. Mage Assassin's power is 2, it comes into play, it's 9, and damages the random enemy unit by 2. Suppose there is a target for that, you get 11 points for only 5 provision. In addition to that, you're thinning your deck by 1. I mean, thinning a deck shouldn't be that rewarding in my opinion. I mean, thinning is already pretty good in this game because, you know, the chances of drawing golds getting higher as long as you thin out your bronze cards. So this is an insane interaction, and we see this duo, these two cards right now in almost every single Nilfgaard deck, and it's not that surprising. I'm rating this card 4 stars, not 5 stars, because you can break this card. You never ever want to have this card in your hands. That's why I deducted a 1 star from the rating. But the Blightmaker is insane. I mean, even if you don't use Mage Assassin, I mean, you have some options. I mean, even if you don't put a spell or a mage, I mean, you're guaranteeing what you'll draw next round. So, I mean, you can put your Masquerade Ball for the next round and guarantee that you draw it. So it is kind of a tutor, just a low tempo tutor if you do not do the other interactions. So Nilfgaard seems pretty good, especially with the bronzes. What about Northern Realms? Northern Realms does have a new keyword, which is called Patience. At the end of your turn, if order is not used, permanently increase the card's specified value by 1. When you read the description, you don't understand anything, so we need to see that on some cards. Let's start with the legendary Heart of Aetherhart. Heart is an amazing card, in my opinion. Zeal Order, create and play a 4 provision spell. Well, there are 2 provision spells in the game, and both of them are pretty good, in my opinion. So you immediately get a lot of value. Suppose you're playing Pact. It boosts a unit by 6. Well, 7 plus 6, you're getting 13 points of value, just like that. But if you're patient, if you wait for some more turns, this 4 number will increase by time. It could be a 5, 6, 7, or up to 13. I'm pretty sure no one will see that, but it is possible. And because, you know, something will happen to this guy if you leave it unchecked. So it is a risk to keep not using the order ability for obvious reasons. But as I said, I mean, even if you use the for provision spell thing, it still gives you a lot of value. That's why I think this is a 5-star card. So you see what patience is used for. You save your order ability, the number will go up, and you're gonna get more value. You're gonna take a risk, obviously, but you're gonna get more. It's like a high risk, high reward type of thing. And in order to play this card, you need to know the spells in the game. Someone in Reddit created this chart or image. For 4 provisions, we have Pact and Teleportation. For 5 provisions, we have actually 5 selections. So the less, the better, actually, because the game will give us 3 options, and we're gonna pick one of them. So having 5 options isn't ideal. It's also the same situation here for 8 provision slots. There are just too many options. But for example, you waited for 9 turns. Well, these are all pretty good options: Invocation, Curse of Corruption, and Triangle within a Triangle. So if you reach 10, you have Ragnarok and those type of insane cards. But I mean, let's say 80% of the time, people will just play the 4 provision spell and then move on, because it is kind of risky. And well, as I said, you need to know which spells are available for each provision if you plan to play Northern Realms and that card. What about the epic card? It's red. This one has patience as well. Zeal Order, draw 1 card and shuffle back 1 card. Whenever you draw a unit card, I mean, if the card you're drawing is a unit, it is going to be boosted by 1. If it's not a unit, he boosts himself by 1 instead. You're patient, you can draw more cards and shuffle more cards back into your deck, but it's kind of risky. And well, I mean, obviously there's a balance. There's a point that you don't need to draw more cards. I mean, the more cards you draw, the less cards you will have in your hand. So you need to shuffle back some cards. That's why, I mean, Istred will be usually played for only for 1 order or 2 orders. I don't think people will be that patient and draw 3 cards. Since you need to have bad cards to shuffle back to your deck. But still, it's a pretty good card. I mean, if you use the ability in your first turn, you know, 7 for 6 plus the boosting, 7 for 7, and then you manipulate your deck, probably get rid of a bad card and draw an extra one. I'm rating this 3 stars, but it could be bumped up to 4 stars, time will tell. But I'm right now leaning more towards 3 star. Casting Contest. It is a spell, so a 5 provision slot gets another spell, and it's a pretty good spell. Boost an ally unit by 5, so 5 for 5. If it's bronze, reset its order ability and give it seal. I mean, suppose you're playing this on a Karak Marine. I mean, not only you're getting 5 points from the card, you're also getting 4 more boost points from Marine's order ability. And, you know, there are pretty good, say, bronze order units in the game. So I think this card is really good. That's why I'm rating this 4 stars. Ban Art Student could be another target for the casting contest. Well, this one is Patience. Order melee damage an enemy unit by 0. So if you wait for 1 turn, you're gonna damage it by 1. This one doesn't have Zeal. 2, 3, and it will go like that if you're patient enough. Well, one of the good things about this card is, I mean, suppose you, let's say, waited for 3 turns and damaged an opponent's unit by 3, and then he died. And in the final round, if you somehow resurrect this from your graveyard, he's gonna keep keep these numbers on him. I mean, suppose he died at 3 counters, so he's gonna come back and you can hit for 3 after you play him. So that's why he's a pretty good card. At first glance, I thought this was meh, but I didn't know that Patience. I mean, I thought Patience, but it's getting reset after being used, but it looks like it isn't getting reset, so it stays the same. So if you have a chance to replay these cards, they're even more valuable. I'm rating this 4 stars, but you know, there's an argument that you could rate this 3 stars. So 3.5 stars is fair, in my opinion. What about Scotel? In this expansion, we only have elves cards, so nice for elven tribal decks. Legendary card is a legendary elf mage, Francesca Findabear. Whenever you play special card, remove 1 counter. So she comes with 3 counters, so you need to wait a bit to get most benefit from her. So when counter reaches 0, spawn and play a doomed copy of the last special card you played. So, I mean, in order to use her, you need to play a special card heavy deck, probably Gord as the finisher. It could definitely work, but I mean, you need to play a couple of specials, and then maybe you'll play Oniromancy, and then you can play Oniromancy once again. So I think that's the ideal scenario. Still requires a lot of step up. But she is somewhat easier to protect because she has Veil, so she is, let's say, safe from poisons and locks. Good card, but not great in my opinion. That's why I'm rating this only 3 stars. What about the Epic Elfvanadine? This is an interesting design, really intriguing, but I don't think it's particularly strong. Deploy, move 2 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck. At Waylay, Waylay hits for 3. If you manage to hit a death blow, you spawn an Elven Deadeye, one of the worst special cards in Scotel. And for each card, move that. Add Waylay to your hand for each card, move that way. The thing is, when you play this guy, you need to have at least 2 cards in your hand so that you know you want to get rid of them. And for those cards replaced, you're getting Waylays. And whenever you play Waylay, spawn an Elven Deadeye in this row. So you have 3 more point potential in this. If things go, you know, perfectly, you can get a lot of value from this card, but it won't. I mean, okay, he has 6 power, but I mean, he's not, let's say, immune to locks and other things. That's why this card isn't that great. But the most important thing is that, I mean, the worst thing about this mechanic is This card won't give you much value in the final round because in the final round you'll have your golds in your hand, and when you play this you don't want to discard your gold cards. And I think this could be a better option for let's say first 2 rounds. Besides, I mean, you can get rid of some scrap cards, like for example Rihann deck uses a lot of more than great, I mean, let's say average 4p bronzes. So maybe you want to get rid of them and prefer to add waylay compared to them, or maybe no unit approach. That could work as well. Instead of playing your units, you just play your Vanadine and then get some Elven Deadites, get some waylays, so on. So it is possible to increase the value of gold. That's why I'm rating this 2 stars. I mean, I see the potential, but this is not a great design. I mean, you never ever wanna replace your goals with waylay. They could have actually fixed this a bit. Instead of deploy, they could have said like sealed order. That would have worked better. So it's optional. The opponent, the player, maybe chooses not to use the ability because cards left in his deck are valuable. So at least they should have given us that flexibility. The last Scotel card is called Sorcerers of Lethana. This one has an order ability, so she dies before using the order ability. It's only a 4 or 5 card. But if you use the order ability, that's pretty cool. Just create and play a bronze Scotel special card with a provision cost equal to or lower than this card's power. So if you're using hand boost or something like that, you can get, let's say, more valuable bronze specials. But most of the time, I mean, you're gonna play either the Hampering cards or Dry's Caress. Those are okay cards. So getting that value from a 5 provision card, I mean the 4-point body plus that spell is pretty good actually. So I think this is an average card, but let's say close to the good side. So I'm rating this 3 stars. Well, why is it not a 4 stars? Because she's difficult to protect. I mean, some people could prefer to eliminate her, but in any case, if the opponent does not have a lot of removal options, they will hesitate to eliminate her because some other more dangerous cards could be waiting in the wings. I said last, but I was wrong because there is another bronze card, Whisper of Lethana. This one has Veil like the leader card, legendary card. When you play a special card, spawn a base copy of self on this row and remove a counter. I am not 100% sure about how this works. I haven't tested this card yet. But I mean, if you build your deck around special cards along with the other cards that I just talked about, this could get value, but I'm not sure how counter works. So in my understanding, I mean, you're only getting 2-3 powered bodies. But I have seen in a Twitch stream that this card had 3 copies on the opponent that was playing, so maybe there is another way to spawn more whispers. So I'm rating this 2 stars. Overall, Scotel did not impress me at all. It is really disheartening. I wish they designed let's say a new mechanic or something like that, instead of urging us to play special cards. And whenever you play a special card heavy deck, it usually ends up with no unit nonsense. So I really didn't like these cards much. The art is awesome, by the way. The general art style in this expansion is off the charts, especially the premiums. Almost all of the premiums are great. So good job for that. Okay, so Skellige and Syndicate. Let's talk about them as well. Skellige's theme in this expansion is weather effects, especially rain and storm. And Fulmar is the legendary card. He is a druid, so having a gold druid is amazing because we do not have a lot of those, especially a high provision druid. So keep in mind that he can trigger getting it. So what does he do? On deploy, you spawn and play Tears of Siren. And Tears of Siren, I'll talk about that. is basically doing the Rage of the Sea leader ability. So that's not bad. But with Order ability, you replace Rain on an enemy row, which you probably already played with Tears of Siren. And Rain, just randomly pings 3 damage to, let's say, units on the board, but Storm damages each unit by 1. So if there is a row with a lot of units, and if Fulmar is not answered, it would give you a lot of value. But as you see, there are a lot of conditions, and how are you going to build your deck around weather effects? That's also a question, and at this time I'm shooting this video, I haven't seen an optimized deck using this formula. But I'm pretty sure we'll see something, but not sure if this, let's say, archetype will be stronger than Warriors or, Reckless Flurry control decks. Right now, they seem stronger, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Especially, maybe instead of Rage of the Sea, you could go for Battle Trance route and combine this with Alchemy. And especially the next card actually fits with that theme, Bride of the Sea. Deploy, play an Alchemy card from your graveyard with provision cost 4 or less. So recently, Marjoram got buffed, and right now it's a 4 provision card, and it gives you a lot of value for 4 provision. So the natural target for this deployability is Marjoram, but you can increase the maximum cost by the total duration of Rain and Storm on opponent's side. So if you already cast some bad weather effects on the opponent's row, you can get a better Alchemy card from your graveyard, like Giga Scorpion Decoction or Sigrifat's Right. It would be great to play them again. So I think this is a pretty good card, so I'm rating this 4 stars. Tears of Siren, now we see the rain effect. Spawn rain on the enemy row for 2 turns and spawn a Deafening Siren on the opposite row for provision. I think it's fair, but the thing is, you probably want to spawn this card from other cards. You don't want to put copies of it in your deck. That's why I'm rating this 3-star. Good card, but not good enough. Melusine Cultist. Again, he interacts with weather effects. Order spawn rain for 2 turns on an enemy row. This is not a deploy or zeal order, by the way. So if he gets answered, this is just a 3-point card. So at the end of your turn, if there is rain on the opposite row, boost the unit to the right by 1. So if you played rain already, you're gonna get a bit more value. Just boost the unit to the right by 1. If there is storm on the opposite row, which won't be really common, boost adjacent units by 1 instead, so you can get more value before using the order ability. So the ceiling isn't as low as we think, but still, this is not a great card, in my opinion, so I'm rating this only 2 stars. Now, the final faction is, last but not least, Syndicate. Syndicate was already powerful when I was shooting this video, and in addition to those broken or overpowered cards, we're getting some bounty themed cards. Witchfinder is the legendary for the Syndicate and bounty archetype. Deploy spawn 3 Syndicate crowns at the end of your turn. If no enemy unit has bounty, place bounty on the highest power enemy unit. So she is gonna put bounties automatically at the end of every turn. She will check for who has the highest power, and that unit will get a bounty immediately. Well, bounty is nice. You get your coins back after you kill that. That's a really good and healthy interaction. However, it's not really that strong in this meta. I mean, it could be low tempo, but we'll see. Maybe time will prove me wrong. And what about Syndicate crowns? Syndicate crowns are just 1 coins. They stay on the board, and when you use them, they're gonna banish themselves. So I think this is a really good design. And as you see, it's a 12 provision 7 power card. So I mean, you get nothing from bounty. This will be really underwhelming. But at least we have these 3 Syndicate crowns. So worst case scenario is you get 10 points from a 12 provision card. I haven't tested this card yet, but I'm pretty sure she is a good one, but not great in my opinion, not overpowered or anything like that. That's why I selected to rate this card 4 stars. Fabian Hale works like Sig actually. On deploy, places bounty on an enemy unit. If there already was an enemy unit with bounty, gain coins equal to its base power. So even if you don't kill that coin, since it has bounty, this unit will get points from that. And that could be really valuable, depending on the matchup, obviously. Well, other than that, he has Intimidate, so that's nice. So this could be a really good card, but you need to play bounties. If you're not playing a bounty theme deck, you know, you're just randomly, not randomly, but you're only using good cards. And you select your leader, and then you play, and you probably win the game. But you can't put this card in a deck like that. Because, I mean, you need to have bounties to get value from this. That's why I'm rating this only 3 stars. Vigilantes is similar. Whenever bounty is placed on the enemy unit, damage it by 2. So let's say Witchfinder and Vigilantes are on the same board, and Witchfinder will put bounties on the highest unit. So that's a nice thing, and you know, without trying to play cards that put bounties on the units, Witchfinder will tag them automatically, and Vigilantes will try to kill them. But how? Whenever you put bounty, they're gonna damage it by 2. I'm not sure if they'll be, strong enough to kill, let's say, a tall unit, but still, it's pretty good as long as you're playing bounty. Without a bounty deck, this card is totally garbage. But with bounty, it's good, so I'm rating this 3 stars. Hysteria is similar. Place bounty on an enemy unit and damage it by 3. If it already hits bounty, double the damage. So, I mean, the first version is just 3 damage, but if it has bounty, you can double the damage and move up to 6. If you're killing it, it's even better because you're gonna get your coin back. So for 5/5 provision, I think this is a fair design. So no complaints here. I'm rating this 3 stars, so it's not that great. And that concludes my video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your interest in my channel. I didn't upload any new content for the last 3 or 4 days. I was kind of busy in life. I had to deal with some things for that work at home, so that's why I wasn't able to provide you with new content. But still, I'll try to upload videos for every other day. Let's say 3 or 4 videos per week is my target, but not every week I can achieve that target. So sorry about that, but still I will try to upload interesting videos, different decks and deck guides and gameplays. That's my main purpose. Okay, so thank you for watching, and thank you for everything. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and hope to see you in the second part of this analysis video after 2 months. In the meantime, I will keep putting meta decks in this channel. Bye bye.